you playing?
Hello, and welcome to What the Bleep Are You Playing? A podcast where we play a game, many times bad, and tell you why the bleep we played it. I am Stealth Sean. This is Vehicular Manslaughter Thomas, and Mason, who is still bad at first-person shooters. And we played... Crysis.
So this is actually kind of a big deal for us.
This is a big deal for us.
So you may have noticed last episode we teased a little bit of some. This is not what we teased.
Exactly, because over on our Patreon, patreon.com/whatthebleep, we have a tier called our Bleephead tier, where if you give us money, specifically $15 a month, we will let you pick a game. And we got that happening. So Chris, who became our first official Bleephead, wanted us to play Crysis. And you know what? We gonna do that. Or we did do that.
This is what I like about this idea of like having people pick out the games for us, because if it was just me on my own, I would have probably never even touched this game. I mean, I might have in like 10-15 years, but not now.
Yeah, you know, you would have been like, in 2030, you've been like, guys, have you ever heard of this Crysis? This brand new...
Yeah, this shit rules.
It fit right in with how bad I am at keeping up with new games.
It's not even that new of a game. This is a PS3 game.
From 2007?
2007 is a PS3. I played the remastered version, which came out in 2020. Thomas, you played the remastered?
I played the remastered version, if only because I wanted to play the original. Couldn't find it.
Yeah, that was kind of where I was on the time frame that we had for this, and you played the original.
I was surprised to be the only one out of the three of us to play the original 360 version.
That's because you are an Xbox user, while Thomas and I are Sony whores.
Yep,
and this was a PC-designed game, an Xbox-designed game that did also get a PlayStation port.
Right. So the first, like all three of the original Crysis games, and then the remastered versions of them, they're all on Game Pass, which is how I played, which is how I was able to play the first one. What's the PlayStation equivalent? PlayStation
Plus.
PlayStation Plus.
I'm surprised it hasn't hit Plus.
Well, the remastered is on the PlayStation Plus. So yeah, the
remastered's on Plus, but also it's like, again, PS3 games are really hard to emulate in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
So yeah, it's on there. I remember the trailer for this one. So like, I remember the Crysis trailer and how big it was, and it was, a lot of people were calling it, when it first debuted at E3, I believe it was E3, or it was one of those game shows when it debuted the trailer. I remember when they debuted it, it was hailed as, ooh, Crysis is coming, and Half-Life 2 is coming.
It's like
they really at the same time?
Yeah. It was like, it's those two.
And I remember that, and then I don't remember ever hearing about this game again.
That's honestly, when we brought up doing Crysis, that was the only thing that I remembered about it, was that it was like the pinnacle of PC performance at the time. And
because it was big, because it was the guys who did Far Cry doing a futuristic first-person shooter.
And this was their first game on Crytek, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, with the Crytek engine. This was their debuting that engine, I believe.
I thought Far Cry used it.
Because they described it as, I believe, the Far Cry, the Cry engine and Far Cry. Yeah, they used it. Okay. I believe, or it was but it was one of the later versions of that game.
So it was
that engine.
So it was like the unveiling of that version of that engine.
Yeah.
Was with this game.
And because this, if you haven't gone back, because I did, and watched the debut trailer for this game, watch it. Great trailer.
Is it a good trailer?
It's also 2007, so remember, there's a bit of that.
Yeah.
But also this game looked good at the time, especially for what it was. It's and you can see where a lot of like the people who didn't like this game and especially when the remasters came around and reviews were not as kind to it. And don't get me wrong, the original was reviewed very well, but this game, there's a little bit of style over substance at time, and that's what a lot of the like negative critiques were in this game, is that they called it style over substance. That being said, I really like the style in this game.
It's good. It does feel a bit COD-y, but other than that,
kind of before though the COD craze though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm the only one here who had exposure to this beforehand. I played Crysis. I bought the remastered trilogy a long time ago on Switch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Surprisingly, runs pretty well.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I honestly expected it to blow up my Switch, but no, it honestly worked pretty well.
That is kind of funny. Does it go from like this is the peak of PC performance to hey, you can play this on Nintendo's tablet with mini controllers on the side?
Yeah.
That is pretty funny.
I bet it runs pretty good on the Steam Deck, honestly.
It's evolution,
Ooh.
baby.
Yeah, yeah. I'll bet it does.
It probably does run pretty well, but yeah,
that was something that was another thing that I was thinking of as I was downloading this game off of Game Pass. I was thinking like, wow, this was the big hot shot game for the PC, and this version for the console, it's only 4 gigabytes. That is tiny compared to games today
we get now,
that are like 100 plus gigs.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty funny.
But yeah, I'd played this game before. I actually loved the first Crysis game when I first played it. It was right up my alley as someone who wanted kind of a mindless shooting game with a bit of a fancy twist on it. And I played Crysis 2 like that. Played a little bit of Crysis 3. I got distracted and never finished it.
It's definitely, you can tell the people who made Far Cry made this game.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Like from the way you pick up objects.
The way you pick up
feels
objects.
So Far Cry.
The way that it reflects how Far Cry is designed even nowadays, where it's very wide open areas.
When you drop into that first island, that is straight out of Far Cry.
Very much.
Straight out of Far Cry. It's Far Cry if one of the protagonists just decided to grab a fucking nano suit.
Yeah.
Which, that is, I think, the selling point of this game, is the suit. The fact that you have cloak, the fact that you can turn your armor on, and the fact that you can customize your weapons with different things. And that was the thing that, like, when I started playing this and really getting into trying to get as far as I could into the game, I died a lot. Oh, I'm not good at this game. I'm not as bad at this game as I was at Forza, but no, this was not. This was a lot of ooh boy. But when you get items to customize and things to customize your weapon, you have a silencer. On it? You have the ability to put a bunch of different little things on the customization to make your weapon for different situations. Ooh, I enjoyed that.
So here's my big issue with the suits. With the nano suit, and one of my issues with this game as a whole, personally. So when you start this game, at least on the version that I played, I don't know if it probably does the same thing on the remaster, but when you start it up, it does like this opening animation showing everything that the suit can do, like the stealth stuff and the little speed boosty thing, and it shows a guy like doing all that and like beating up a bunch of guys and using the suit as it's intended. And you look at that and you think, wow, you're going to feel invincible in this thing. And then you drop in.
And you don't.
And if you don't know how to use it properly, like I didn't, it was very hard to remember as I'm getting shot at, oh shit, I need to hit the armor button. If you don't know how to use it like I did, you don't feel invincible like that opening cutscene.
There's kind of
it leads you to believe you will.
Element to the mech suit that you feel like, the movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Yes.
That like they have these like big mech suits with guns and all these things, and then these just weird tentacle aliens are just slaughtering them left and right.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that you have with it?
A little bit.
Personally, one of the things that does make this game for me is the weapon customization, as Sean brought up earlier. It's going to sound really weird, but for some reason, This is my personal favorite Crysis game. It's not like
It's the first one, really.
Yeah, and it is exclusively because of the weapon customization.
Wow.
They don't have it in the later games because they cut it down for consoles, basically.
Look, I love to customize things.
Yeah,
Customization fun.
And at least I don't remember. I could be wrong. I've only played Crysis 2 the one time. Hey, but nothing is as cool to me as just looking at your gun, putting a grenade launcher on it, a laser sight, adjusting the stock or whatever, putting incendiary rounds in your AK because you're a fucking lunatic.
Yes, it's these sort of things that is so it's less about what type of guns you have, like a lot of other ones, and more how you want to make your gun unique, and that's actually really fun.
Yeah, and it is something I really enjoyed personally. I just like that you can dual wield pistols. Mm-hmm. Did I get any kills with them? Probably not. I
was ridiculously bad aim with the pistol. Like, did anybody else have it that it aimed a little higher than you would think?
Yeah.
And so, like, I adjusting to it, like, I eventually figured out, like, and got it to, like, I was hitting, but initially I was like, why is everything going high with the pistol?
The whole, like, this is the other issue that I have with it. The gameplay in general is going for, like, as realistic as possible, I felt like, at least shooting-wise, and, like, with the, like, there's no on-screen sight. You have to use the gun sight, which is...
Well, you can get sights and customize.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't figure that out.
Well, you as the game progresses,
you
get that's part of customizing your weapon. Initially, you don't have it, but
Well,
you can get was it 4, 5, 6 times magnification sniper scopes?
See,
on
I didn't get that far into it, but
you do also have your binoculars so you can look and see things as well.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't help when you're shooting, when you're actively shooting at them. But
you can mark characters.
I forgot I had the binoculars.
Oh, I used them a lot.
I forgot I had the binoculars because if you can't tell by my name, my strategy was less what you're supposed to do, which is cloak, stealth around, check out everyone, and then pick them off one by one, and more get in a Humvee, drive like a maniac while blaring Ride of the Valkyries and run to like 15 people, and eventually get out right before it explodes.
There you go. That's That was why I couldn't get really far in this game, was because I'm trying to use the sight that comes with the gun, that's really small, and the people are far away, and it's hard to and there's also
Mason.
There's no hit marker in this game to tell if you're actually hitting them. So I'm just shooting in their direction, and I have no idea if I'm hitting them or not until they die.
So yes, I actually also had a little bit of problems with that element, but you can put a super magnified scope and have buckshot.
See, I didn't know that. The game didn't, that's the thing. The game didn't tell me these things.
This game, the customization, like that is the reason why I will play this game again in the future is because I want to have as many ridiculously weird gun combinations as possible, because that is extremely what I want. Like, I may be bad at a lot of especially the more modern we get, the worse I get at first-person shooters. You go back a little bit, I'm actually a little better, at this and that, but I'm never going to be good at first-person shooters, but I'm better at some of them. But like this game, the gun customization is literally worth the price. It's literally worth it, albeit, if you have Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, this is a free game.
It's a free game.
With things like that. But if you don't, it's worth the price. Like, that alone is awesome.
And that does make me actually, kind of want to go back and try it again at least a little bit, because that may have just been the problem that
I was gonna say
what's the word I'm looking for?
The iron sights.
No, I'm trying the setup. The setup that I was working with just wasn't working for me.
Yeah,
so I feel like if I changed that.
Yeah. No. See, first thing I did when I played the game, because I played the game before. So for this run, the first thing I did was you get your assault rifle, and it's like you can use your iron sights, or you can switch to the red scope, or I could switch to the red scope.
Yeah, I switched to the red scope pretty fast because it was just that scope was a little better. Like, I didn't mind the iron sights at different times, but I did prefer the red scope because it does have the dot on it.
Yeah, I did not like the iron sights. It's a weird thing with me in first-person shooters. I do not like iron sights that much. I always like to have a scope.
Same. I actually like kind of the iron sights in the like older Call of Duty games. I don't mind them as much in those games.
That's fair, but that's also like I can accept that if I'm in that time period.
That's true.
Like if I'm playing a World War, I was gonna say if I'm playing a World War I shooter, I don't expect to be able to put the 2023 like 68 times sniper scope on my fucking M1 Grand.
But yeah, that is what makes this game, because in the end, like, there is a plot going on with aliens and military stuff and all going on, but like none of the plot really was like sticking to me.
Isn't that what Battle for LA was?
Well,
what's it called? What's that movie called?
It's a little different, but sure.
LA Battlefield, whatever it is. Isn't that
what the hell is that movie called?
Battlefield LA. No, Battle LA.
Battle LA.
I
think it's just Battle LA.
I know there's
Sorry
a couple.
to immediately disrail you, but I was just like, isn't that what that is?
There's going to be a couple of people that are going to listen to this that are going to be like,
it's like
it's this.
I have a couple of friends who love that movie who I think are hopefully going to listen to this, and we'll go to
They're
that.
just texting you while they're playing. It's Battle LA, you fucking idiot. Watch, we're still saying it wrong. They're still pissed off.
Exactly.
But yeah, the plot's nothing special. It's military dudes fighting alien guys, and if you're like me and you have the monkey brain, it might be cool for some points.
Mm-hmm.
Although the game actually, in my opinion, gets worse when you start fighting the aliens. Because what makes the game cool, in my opinion, is it is guerrilla warfare, but you happen to be a one-man army in a nanosuit. Like, that's what kind of makes the game cool for me. When you're fighting the aliens, it's very much you're fighting these big spaceships, you're doing all this stuff, and it's like, that kind of loses some of the appeal for me personally.
Yeah, it kind of what it sounds to me like is like it's like when you're playing what's it called, Earth Defense Force, where you're shooting like giant bugs and spiders and stuff, and eventually you get to a point where there's like UFOs going around that you're trying to shoot down, and it's like, well, that's not fun.
Yeah, that's not as
fun. It's not as fun as shooting a giant spider in the face.
Right, exactly.
The story boiled down is military on Earth, Halo. Let's break down what a lot of it is.
Yeah, because it's basically...
It's even got the cool suits.
Yeah.
It's got the suits. It's an old alien architecture. Yeah.
It's an old alien architecture buried.
I'm surprised Bungie didn't call their lawyers.
There's some cool bits in the story. No pun intended, but one of them is where the aliens awaken and they freeze everything just by waking up. And your character breaks out and you're like, what the fuck was that? Also, kind of interesting, you can customize your voice, but it's just the voice.
Oh.
So it can be like, you can have a male or female nomad.
Oh.
So it's like, well, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool things. And again, there's a reason this was awarded Best Shooter of 2007 by GameSpot.
Wow.
Yeah, which, again, I believe same year as Half-Life 2.
I think Half-Life 2 was technically, I think, was 2006. I think it is, but it was the end of 2006.
Okay,
so
well then never mind. Crysis sucks.
They were close. They were close to each other, though, I believe, or at it. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right.
I think for this game, it's just it is fun. And I like it, and I think I will revisit it. So that, and I will play it more. I have it downloaded on my PS5 now. I think I will play it a little bit on and off. But also, outside of the gun customization, it all kind of feels like the shooters of the time. Now, it's a really well done version of it, so I don't know if that's necessarily a disrespect or just being like, yeah, it feels like a first-person shooter of the 2010s or late around that time. But it does it well. So I'm not. This isn't necessarily being like it's bad because of that. It's just it doesn't separate itself for me looking back at it. And again, playing the remastered version, so maybe a little bit of different of an experience than playing the OG. But looking back at it, it's like it feels very much like
and that may
the shooters.
Maybe that's why Mason had a harder time than us. Maybe the OG just didn't didn't tell him as much.
Yeah, well, that is. I think that is what it is. The other interesting thing is, and I don't think I've ever experienced this with a game that we've played for this podcast or any game in general. I feel like if I was my age, the age I am now, in 2007, and I was first introduced to this game, I think I would gravitate to it a lot more. The problem is it's not 2007. I'm not 21 in 2007. I'm 21 in 2024.
Yeah.
I was gonna say in 2007 you would have been what, like fucking 4?
I would have been 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I would have been 4.
Yeah, this is.
I was 4 years old when this game came out.
You're saying that you weren't grabbing the Xbox 360 controller at 4 to play Crysis?
No, I was grabbing the Xbox Kinect in 2012 to play Kinect Adventures. Thank you very much. Anyway,
Put some respect on my name.
Was it 2012? It may have been 2014. Anyways,
I think the thing for this, and I think that's a really good point, is maybe also why, and I couldn't find a lot why the remasters were reviewed so much lower than there, but I think maybe there is a point in it. In 2007, this game was awesome. In 2020, maybe that a lot of those things weren't as awesome.
yeah.
And it might be a lot of these reviewers had played the game before, so the remasters, I'm guessing, didn't do a whole lot. So.
And the thing that and you were mentioning a lot. You were going a lot on the weapons customization, which is a genuine plus for a game like this. But the thing is, I'm listening to you talk about this, and you know what other game does this? Mind you, it does it differently. But you know what other game does this? Doom 2016, and I love that game. And I think comparing the two, I would gravitate more to Doom 2016 just because I like the way it plays more. I think if Crysis, I think if it was a little bit more like Doom 2016 in the way it played, it probably wouldn't have fit the presentation very well, but it would have been a little bit more fun for me personally.
I mean, it's a difference between boomer shooters and tactical shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I like both because I'm a fucking ape man. But there's going to be plenty that people gravitate towards. A lot of people I know, Mason included, gravitate more towards boomer shooters. So
Yeah.
Thomas mentioned some of the gameplay in here, but I just wanted to really highlight the stealth mechanics were really awesome for me. Especially in that island level, but even later on in some of the other stuff. But that early stuff when you're sneaking around the camps, like, I really did enjoy you hit your cloak. All right, I'm going to spend time. Okay, I'm running out of energy on my cloak. Okay, I have to decloak in a couple of seconds. All right, find a spot. Okay, laying down. No one sees me. I'm decloaking. Okay, energy powered back up. All right, cloaking. Oop, there's a guy there. Uncloak, shoot, cloak. Like, I really did enjoy some of the elements of the stealth mechanics of this game. And I'm not necessarily always known as the stealth person playing first-person shooters, but I really had a lot of fun with the stealth.
See, I do like the stealth. I did it more later on because the beginning of the game, again, I was psychopath, killing everything that moves, blasting away. One of my favorite things you can do is you can grab a guy by the throat, but if you have your pistol out, you can still shoot people with your pistol. So you just shoot his friend while you're holding this guy's throat, then his other friend comes around the corner, and you just toss him like a sack of potatoes at him.
Here's my problem with playing stealthily, because I did try to do that.
Here's what's it. I'm bad at the game.
But also,
My
thing about when I play games stealthily, and this happens a lot if you would ever watch me play the Hitman games, is that when I get into the right spot to kill someone, I will stay in that spot until I am absolutely certain that I could kill this person and get away with it. So what happens when I'm playing Crysis and I'm trying to use stealth mode, which degenerates pretty quickly.
If you're standing up, yeah, it goes really fast.
Really
if you're
quickly.
laying down, it's really slow.
Yeah, so when I'm trying to move and I get into the right place and I'm like, all right, I gotta be absolutely sure. Is this the right spot? Shit, my stealth is run out. I gotta run, and then everybody sees me and starts shooting me. Starts turning me into Swiss cheese.
On Mason, point there, actually, one thing that's really nice is that there are a lot of checkpoints. Consistently checkpoints, so you're reloading pretty close to wherever you died. You're reloading not too far away.
And I imagine on the original PC version, you also had quick save.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like, I was consistently like, oh, okay, yeah, I died. There was almost a Soulsborne-esque element of if I got stuck on something, I'd die a bunch, but I'd just keep going back a little bit and be like, all right, well, if I go to the left this time, all right, if I go there, maybe if I do this and this. There was a lot of like cerebral thinking through scenarios in this game that I didn't expect when I booted it up.
Again, played the game very differently. I beat my head against the wall doing the exact same things until I beat it. Until about halfway through the game when I unlocked the sniper rifle. Because at that point I was like, ooh, now I can be a sniper. And my whole mentality changed. Because anytime I can be a sniper in a game, I'm going to be a sniper.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because it's one of my favorite images, just for comedic sake, is some guy sitting in his little fucking tent, smoking a cigarette, smoking a doobie or whatever, having a nice time, and then something coughs in the distance and his head explodes and his friend's like, what the fuck? Snipers are the funniest fucking thing when you think of them like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think...
Professionals have standards.
I think in the end...
I know you were going for Sniper from TF2, but it's Sniper from TF2 if it was from the fucking Bronx.
I think in the end that this game is a lot of fun. It did apparently have a lot of multiplayer, up to 32 players online.
Which I can imagine that would have been chaos.
Yeah.
Everyone getting in vehicles, everyone with their own nanosuit, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and especially, I think for the way I played it, I would have been awful at multiplayer. I'm bad at first-person shooter multiplayer in general, so, like, you know...
Yeah, I say
potato.
Yeah, I say I like being a sniper, unless it's multiplayer, where, you know, people are actually good at the game.
Yeah. When they're sniping you back.
No, that's exactly it. When I'm like 500 yards away from a guy and I'm like, ooh, I'm taking a shot. Why am I dead? And then some guy on the fucking moon is like, this pussy's in the open.
No, see, like, I would play, this actually back with, like, the Halo games on, like, playing, like, if I was the sniper, I'm like this, he's like, all right, turn it, all right, and lining perfectly up, I'm dead. What happened? And then you just see someone in there, as they're just like, dunk, shook, dunk, like they pull the gun out, one fire, and I'm like, how did you get that on me in that time? I just spent meticulous minutes perfectly lining up the shot, and
then I'm dead.
See, that's why I like games like Sniper Elite and Sniper Ghost Warrior. I should say the good Sniper Ghost Warriors. Because, like, I like being a sniper in games where you can, you know, take your time and settle it up. I don't like being a sniper in a multiplayer-focused game because every time I feel like I get a shot, I'm like, oh, nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's that South Park meme that it's like, all right, I'm just going to line up the shot here, and I'm gone.
and I'm gone. And I end up sounding like fucking Curly from the Three Stooges running away.
I think this was a good little tangent in our season to be able to play a game that like probably maybe would have played down the line because Thomas, you know, might have gotten in the mood and played it.
I was gonna say maybe, but also I say this is my favorite Crysis game. It's not like one of my favorite games or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game that when Chris brought it up, he's like, I want to do the first Crysis game. I was like, oh fuck right, I do like that game.
So like it was great, and you know. For to play and introduce a game that like I going back and watching the trailers beforehand and being like, oh yeah, I remember the hype around this game. Right, this was a thing that was happening, you know. And remember also in 2007, which what kind of had started, you know, we're really getting hyped around and what is taking the world by storm, Gears of War.
Oh
yeah, Gears of War just come out.
That's the type of shooter that had kind of taken over the world at that point.
Yeah.
So, like, it is interesting, you know, that this still did as well and was as hyped up in a world where Gears of War was everything.
I apologize, but you said something, and I'm like, that perfectly sums up our podcast, where Sean's like, ooh, this was a thing. And I'm like, man, that perfectly sums up basically everything we've picked for this podcast.
This was a thing.
This was a thing.
But yeah, it was good to sit down and play through a lot of it. This may be a little bit kind of more of a brief like summation. We didn't necessarily break down a lot of the little things because this wasn't necessarily planned, and we threw it together because we want to make sure that anyone who subscribes on that tier gets their episode out very quickly.
Exactly.
This is a game I would definitely like to go back to at some point.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe
revisit it on it.
Maybe if you go back to it and it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
But on this podcast, we ask two important questions of every game we play. The first is, how does it hold up?
It is.
Mason has the best answer because Thomas and I played the version that was from 2020.
I was gonna say, we played the first for fucking 2020.
For a game from 2007, it looks like a game from 2007. All right.
It's like I was gonna say. It was like it's the most 2007 game to ever.
It
2007.
is. Yeah. It is like for being
On a level of things that came out in 2007, well, Hitman came out, the movie, and I can't think of anything else. My brain just rotted. Anyway,
the thing that is the thing about this game is that for 2007 it looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
For today, it looks like it's from 2007, which isn't a bad thing necessarily.
I mean, no, it's all boils down to
yeah, it's on that Xbox 360, PS3 graphics that like you think back and you're like, wow, these were the most incredible graphics ever. And now you're going, oh, did I ever think they were incredible? How did I do that?
Yeah, it's not. And it's not like a PlayStation 1 or N64, which is aged about as well as
Beautifully.
I don't
Careful.
know, Christopher Lloyd. I don't know. I was trying to make a poll.
That man has aged gracefully. You should.
How dare you, Mason?
Because I don't think he's ever been young.
That's fair. That's the one that's one of those actors that is perpetually old.
It's just always old. Like William Dafoe, that motherfucker's never been under 50.
Nope.
But yeah, no, I agree with Mason here. It's a very 2007 looking game. Even the remasters, it's like, yep, that's 2007.
And I think the thing
again,
about it,
it's not a bad thing.
No,
yeah,
because
it's just what it is.
especially because like I'm getting really tired of hyper realistic games coming out every fucking 5 minutes.
especially in the shooter realm.
Yeah, especially in the shooter realm. So I'm like, oh, thank God, something that looks mid.
It controlled really well. I really did like the controls. I liked everything, the layout. I liked the way they did things. Some of the controls took a minute to get used to, but I did really like them. Yeah, I think it held up. Again, played the remaster. It's only 4 years, but it is a remaster of a game that is 17 years old. So
that would have been 14 years old at the time. It would have been remastered came out.
yeah. So it was, a solid hold up experience. Normally, our second question is to ask, do we want a remaster, a remake, or a reimagining? Well, we played the remaster, so the question to ask on this is, what would you like to see done with this type of game?
Well, it's interesting because we know Crysis 4 is in development.
Yes.
At the moment. If it were me personally, and I know this would probably... That's the thing, is the things that I would want from this series would piss off actual fans of this series, probably. But if it were me, I would completely scrap Crysis 4, completely reboot it, but make it a boomer shooter. That's what I would do. Again, that would probably piss off a lot of people who were fans of this franchise.
I think
that's what I would do.
I think it'd be better if, because I played Postal Brain Damaged earlier, which is a boomer shooter spin-off of the Postal series. Spin-off. Like, just do a Crysis boomer shooter spin-off. Call it Crysis Armageddon or something like that.
So
Crysis Judgment Day.
The reason I asked this
Something
question
like that.
is because I have a pitch to take from it.
Oh boy.
Give me this.
No, wait, hold on. This is a what the bleep, not a how.
I know.
This is a what,
bleep.
not a how.
So take this customization, take this gameplay, take it all. Let me be the Predator.
Okay.
I want to stealth
Alright.
with gun customization and be the Predator and hunt things. Anyway, that's what I literally playing that island. I was like, I could be the Predator. What if I had camouflage?
I was going to say, basically the game is if you're the Predator, except,
You're not.
less ripping spines out and more just kind of moving on with your life.
I would like more ripping spines out. That's what I'm asking. Yes, please. Anyway, that is what I felt while playing it.
I don't know how I feel about the idea of Predator with gun.
I don't. Okay, so here's my thing. I don't like the idea of Predator in first person.
That is fair, but I think if you were to do something with it, and again, it doesn't have to be just gun. It can be how he customizes his weapons and things like that, because he has tons and tons and tons and tons of weapons.
Just fucking Predator with like, I have my wrist blades, my scythe, and This M16 with the tank
that
grenade
that I've
launcher.
loaded a pitchfork on the top of it that I launched.
You brought up Predator in first person. That just unlocked a core memory for me. We ought to play the AVP game.
The 2010 one.
Yes, that one. We ought to play that at some point.
Fun fact, I have played that game. Bad at it.
I haven't played it, but I remember watching the older kids at daycare play it.
Oh.
It was one of those games.
Similar to me. I watched my brother play it.
So yeah, I was like, you brought up Predator in first person. I was like,
And that game is exactly why I don't like Predator in first person. It's not that bad. I'm just bad at it.
Anyways.
What I would kind of like to take, honestly, I'm going the exact opposite route, and I assume what the first Far Cry is like, but I haven't played that game. I would kind of like it if it was this kind of game where you could stealth around, customize your guns and everything, but you were just a normal dude. Like you just
Less
land,
of the suits, just more of
yeah, like you just land and you're and like pirates attack you or something, and you crash on this island, and you're like, "Fuck!"
trying to survive while you're being Yeah, I could get behind it.
Yeah,
That could be a lot of fun. Almost Resident Evil-esque, but with more
Resident
of
Evil-esque, but with more of an action focus instead of zombies or whatever. It's just kind of normal dudes trying to make normal dudes scary or something.
I like it.
I'd also like for the next game to be titled Cryforces.
What do you guys think?
Genuinely, I wouldn't put it past them.
Oh my god. So, thank you all. Thank you, Chris, for suggesting this. This was an awesome thing. Thank you for supporting us. If you would like to be like Chris and be one of our favorite best friends on the internet, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/whatthebleep. Subscribe. You could either do just a regular and for $3 a month and listen to all 114 episodes of shows we have on there.
You got a bet.
Or, as I said, if you're like, 114 is not enough, I have a suggestion. Subscribe to our Super Bleep Head tier. $15 a month, you can pick a game or a movie, and we will either play or watch it and then tell you all about it. If you'd like to send any comments or questions or anything else that you thought while watching this episode, send us an email, bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. That's bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. If you're listening on iTunes, Apple, Spotify, or any of those places where you can review 5 stars, please drop that 5-star review. Be generous.
Even if you hate us.
Be
even
generous.
If you hate us,
Come on.
Be a bro.
Do like what Zack Snyder fans were doing when Justice League came out. Give it a horrible review, but 5 stars.
Just say 5 stars. Release the Snyder Cut, and we'll be like, we don't do that, but thank you for the 5 stars.
Release the Snyderverse. I'm not in control of that.
Release the bleep cut. I want to see the bleep cut.
Somehow it'd be longer.
Somehow. We'll catch you guys next time. Burn it.